Hello, everyone, and welcome to Augmented Industries. Our first speaker will be Barry Poe, Director of Product Management at nGrain.
We're a 3D augmented reality company that's based in Vancouver, Canada. And at nGrain, we're exclusively focused on bringing augmented reality to the enterprise. What I'd like to do today is take the next 10 minutes or so to share with you some of the experiences that we've had at nGrain with bringing AR to the enterprise. And obviously, if we have a little bit of time afterward, happy to take any questions. What I wanted to do was start with a story that we came across at nGrain some time ago. We have a particular customer who happens to be in the oil and gas industry, where they work with a lot of complex equipment in the field. And some time ago, they spent some time to conduct an operational efficiency study to understand where they could be more efficient in the field. And as a result of doing that study, they found out that one piece of equipment in particular was giving them a lot of trouble. So much trouble, in fact, that it wasn't even operational 60% of the time. So when they looked into the cause, they realized it was due to the failure of just one part, an improperly installed flange. Simply put, their field technicians didn't even realize that they were improperly installing that part. And because of that one error, this customer of ours has been losing over $17 million in revenue a year. So today, we're working with them to look at how augmented reality is going to help them address this problem. And the reason that I'm telling you this story today is because I think it underscores a few key things about augmented reality in the enterprise. First, that the opportunity is very real. Second, that there is a direct link between AR and the bottom line. And third, while enterprise problems are often really simple to state, they can be really hard to solve. So today I want to talk about some of the key issues that we've seen at nGrain in bringing augmented reality to the enterprise. I want to talk about some of the implementation challenges we face as a community today. And I want to take just a few minutes to talk about nGrain, our approach to AR, and how some of our customers are using our technology in the field today. So, AR issues in the enterprise. At nGrain, we see that there are challenges on both the development and deployment ends of the spectrum. And not all of these are rooted in AR hardware and software. Those are things that obviously every enterprise organization is interested in. But one of the things that we've seen time and again with enterprise organizations is that the thing they're most concerned about is the creation and management of AR content. So enterprises are concerned about how to create AR content that's going to work for them in the field, right? So when they're bringing content out to the person who's actually working in the field, that content has to be useful enough for them to make some reasonable decisions in real time, in perhaps the middle of nowhere. Enterprise companies are concerned about how to keep their content up to date. Right? So it's not possible for enterprise organizations, or not feasible, to have to recreate your content from scratch every single time a piece of content has to be updated. And then there's always the issue of how you're going to push those updates out to the dozens or hundreds or thousands of devices that ultimately these organizations envision being out in the field. On top of that, there's the question of who's going to create that content. And in a lot of enterprise businesses, the people who create the content aren't going to necessarily be developers or artists or CAD engineers. So as an AR community, we have to be able to provide them with tools and technologies that are going to allow them to manage that content without requiring them to be developers, artists, or engineers. There's a lot of talk about user experience and the importance of UX of AR in the field. And when we talk about user experience in particular, especially for those in the field, we have to remember that those end users of AR are going to be subject matter experts, but they're not necessarily going to be AR experts. So whatever's deployed in the field for them has to be easy to use, it has to be intuitive, and it can't impose a steep learning curve. Because if it looks like it's going to be harder for them to use the technology than it is for them to work the way they currently do today, they simply won't use it. And there's also the topic of interoperability in the enterprise, right? So for AR to live up to its promise of being able to fuse all of these disparate data systems together, to have the right information show up at the right place and at the right time, AR is going to have to connect with systems all over the enterprise. And these systems generally don't talk to each other very well. Right? So as a community, again, one of the things that we're going to have to look at are ways to bridge those gaps. So let's talk a little bit about some of the implementation challenges we face. We all know how important tracking and recognition are to AR. And in the enterprise, tracking and recognition take on a whole new level of importance, because in a lot of these organizations, high accuracy and precision are absolutely important. And we also have to know what to do when the technology stops working. Data synchronization is important. You know, a lot of demos and concepts talk about beaming information from the cloud to an AR display. It turns out that a lot of enterprise organizations are also really interested in the reverse. They'd like somebody in the field to be able to make updates and bring them back into the cloud, so people outside of the field in the rest of their organization are going to be able to collaborate with those people in the field directly. There's also the topic of enterprise content reuse. So in a lot of enterprise organizations, they don't want to spend the time to have to create content just to make something work in augmented reality. They're not interested in creating special purpose assets. So they're always on the lookout for ways to create or take advantage of the assets that they already have. And we've also talked to a lot of customers about the developer ecosystem. So obviously, no two enterprise organizations are the same. And this is a challenge for AR, right? How do you support a myriad of mobile devices and wearables, whether those wearables and devices are iOS, Android, Windows-based, or something else entirely? So, lots of issues to be sure. What I'd like to do is talk about some of the things we're doing at nGrain and how some of our customers are using our platform today. We've been working with customers in the enterprise for almost 8 years now to make AR practical within these organizations. We've had a variety of pilot implementation projects, research and development partnerships to address a lot of the issues that we've just talked about. And at nGrain, that's culminated for us in releasing a commercial version of our AR platform that provides a robust 3D rendering engine that deploys out to mobile devices and wearables. We provide development tools and authoring software for content creation. And ultimately, what we enable enterprise customers to do is to create and manage content without having to write any code, and to be able to deploy that content out to the field with a single click. So today, our customers are using our platform to support visual inspection of complex machinery and assemblies. So in those instances, many of them are interested in real-time damage assessment and repair of complex machines. To get real-time task feedback and guidance. And for the specialist in the field, it's not just a question of, what is the next step in my procedure or my task? They're also really asking the question of whether they're doing a particular step correctly. And we're also using augmented reality for complex manufacturing, linking real-time sensors to monitor the production of composite materials, complex assemblies on the production line. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. But given the fact that I've only got a few minutes, just to recap, there are a lot of development and deployment challenges involved in making AR viable in the enterprise. People, process, and technology all have to work together in order to make AR viable within the enterprise. And our approach at nGrain has been to focus on the end-to-end experience, making it easy to create and manage AR content, use 3D to provide context, make AR available on demand, and make AR a bidirectional communication between the person in the field and the rest of the organization. And with that, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I'd encourage you to come and talk to me after the session. I'd love to connect with you. And just a reminder that we've got a booth at the show floor, number 62. We've got some great demos and some special offers for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
We have time for a couple of quick questions.
How do you sell your partnership implementations to in the industrial market?
So we have a variety of different ways that we work with enterprise customers. One way we work is by selling off-the-shelf software. So we have the authoring tools that are available to people on demand. You can purchase them on subscription or just buy seats of the software. Another way that we work with them is through strategic implementations. So we'll actually go in and build customized versions of our software, customized for a particular enterprise's needs. And we can also work a little bit more directly by being a bit of an OEM, integrating our technology directly into the tech stack of an enterprise customer.
How you doing? I'm curious about, have you had any winning metrics or, from the pilot programs that you've, or the implementations you've done so far? Have there been any, huge takeaways where everyone in the organization was, wow, this is a huge win, let's repurpose these numbers to tell our future customers that this is what they could hope to see?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, we've got numbers in a variety of different areas. I don't know that any of them are scientifically conclusive, but just in terms of being trending numbers, we've certainly seen task performance increases, like people get stuff done 30% faster. People are able to get tasks done correctly the first time up to 96% of the time because you're providing them with that kind of feedback. So those are the kinds of numbers that our customers are sharing with us, and I think that's really exciting because it means the technology works.
Barry, you mentioned about the conceptual and the bidirectional, and the 3D is a key component of yours. Any of the challenging on moving those things from the enterprise to the field and to the field coming back?
Yes.
And what you foresee about the technology helping you on doing those things?
Sorry, so I'm not quite sure I understood the question.
Any of the additional technology that will help you to do that thing better in the futures?
Yeah, so standards are probably the big thing. I think the biggest challenge to getting that to work in the enterprise is trying to find ways to get all of these different technologies to talk with each other. And that is the single biggest problem with creating that bidirectional communication, right? The technology exists, but these technologies simply don't talk to each other. And as a result, it's really hard to get to a point where these enterprises can actually live the vision that they really want to see out in the field.
That's about all the time we have questions for. Thank you very much, Barry.
Thank you.